It's the motherfucking player haters. Oh, yeah.
Player haters.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Happy last day of June. I know, right? We're just blazing right through this year. The 7th month is upon us in 2025. Who knew it would be so exciting? Speaking of exciting, some rights were wronged. Flip it. Some wrongs were righted. And what I mean by that is this past week, we've seen a little bit of a pendulum switch, if you will, for some of week's two's matchups and some of their defeats that were handed out in week two. Well, they were different this week. So let's recap again, if you will. Hang in there with me. Week two saw it go down like this. Rally Monkeys beat yours truly 7-3, while Trippin' Billies beat his brother Sean 6-3. Mikases Sukases beat Benchwarmers 8-3. Mandalorians beat Rayford Peaches 8-3. Tortured Baseball Department destroyed Swinging and Missing.
I'm sorry. I won. You just said Mandalorians beat Rayford.
I apologize, guys. My wife is apparently behind me, not listening to today's podcast. So we'll recap one more time. This is going over what happened in week two and expressing how some wrongs that happened in week two were righted in week 13. It's okay if you listen. They're only words of the only language you speak. So back to the Tortured Baseball Department destroyed Eric's Swinging and Missing 12-0, and the Agents of Chaos lost to Jesus 7-4. Now that was week two. Fast forward to week 13, if you will, with me, which actually rewind to week 13 because that was last week. And let's recap the wrongs from week two that were righted, if you will. The only one that was not a switch, if you will, of who won was Shane and Sean's matchup. Shane actually won 3 more categories in this second bout, 9-3. Walker's proclamation at the beginning of last week, if you will, he was claiming that I would be occupying 9th place, was thwarted by yours truly, and I was able to defeat him 7-5. Based off of the score, Rally Monkey still holds the tiebreaker if one should be needed to be utilized in the upcoming weeks or playoff or placement of or deciding who wins in a tie in a playoff match. So congratulations, Rally Monkeys. Benchwarmers was able to take down Nick, who last week was claiming first place. Mandalorians took the loss from Rayford Peaches. Here's where Ray comes in. She won 8-4. And Eric was able to defeat Jason 7-4 and Brian 8-3 over Jesus. So there you have it. Week 13 saw some rights wronged or wrongs righted, however you want to, say it. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic and goofy there with how I am pronouncing this, but let's dive in a little bit deeper. I can tell you what, I was glued to the phone Sunday because Sunday's never actually a decent performing day for yours truly. It tends to not go the way that I would like it to go. And it was almost that case when Trevor McGill came out and pitched a ninth and 10th inning, I believe, or was it? I can't remember if it was an eighth, and it had to have been a ninth inning where he then gave up a solo home run to Orlando Arcia of the now Colorado Rockies, tying the game at 2-2, and then came back out in the 10th inning and gave up another. It wasn't a run, but a run was scored on him. It was the ghost runner, if you will. But then Reed Detmers came in, and if the Angels have any desire to move on from Kenley Jansen, I think Reed Detmers would actually be your go-to guy. He came in a bases loaded situation. And again, the only reason I really know any of this is because I literally was glued to my phone trying to make sure that very narrow ERA between myself and Walker was not fixing to be destroyed, if you will. And anyway, so he came in a bases loaded situation and struck out the only batter he faced in the 7th inning. And then in the 8th inning was brought back out and was given the opportunity to even get the win. And that was thwarted by Kenley Jansen and his just utter blow up, if you will, against the Nationals. And but Reed Detmers did his job for me. So I still am baffled and blown away by the fact that stolen bases are just null and void from people like Bobby Witt Jr. and Shohei Ohtani, just to mention a few. Like, where have all the Cowboys gone? And stolen bases as well. But yeah, Walker, just, can't stand facing a team that apparently should not be putting up the ERA numbers that he believes that belong to his, 16 players. But, that's the name of the game, sir. I can't, pitch a bad game for these guys, but I also had less pitching opportunities. So take that what you may. I mean, I had Jacob Lopez, Mitch Keller, Seth Lugo, Clay Holmes, Christopher Sanchez, and Jeffrey Springs was, the worst, if not, and Jesus Luzardo for one game. So, and let's call a spade here. Shane Baz has not been very good. His last matchup against Detroit, 8.44 ERA. Okay, so don't sit there and be like, oh, Shane Baz, who you just traded away to Ray, is, somehow Greg Maddux. But let me get off Walker's dick real quick because it's huge and causing me to choke. Ha! Let's move on to Trippin' Billy's and this family affair with his brother Sean. This was, when you look at the stats here, it was pretty close. 2 home runs and 1 stolen base is what separates Trippin' Billy's and Sean's score. And the pitching categories, not even close. Sean was destroyed. 6 wins difference, 31 strikeouts. I can do math. And a 5.09 ERA. I mean, at some point, you just got to say to yourself, fuck. Okay. Juan Soto came to life for old Shane. He's finally, getting to see results from him. And, yeah, that's really all I got to say about that. And Christian Yelich had a good week for him. Ooh. Trying to look at, Sean's stats and who gave him some stuff. Wilson Contreras is picking it up a little bit for you there. Not a good week from Andrew Heaney. And Who else gave you such a Chris Bassett? Ooh, no bueno. No bueno. He's probably waiting for guys like Chris Sale and Michael King to come back. Anyways, moving on. Benchwarmers was able to take down, like I said previously, Nick, but this was a very good battle between these two first and second place teams. They just swapped here. They tied in home runs. I'm not sure if either gentleman left home runs on the bench because I didn't watch there so intently, but a little bit higher ERA than the two gentlemen would probably prefer to have, but 8 stolen bases for Nick. And there you go. There's the stolen base numbers that I would have expected for myself. But Kyle Tucker, Byron Buxton, Fernando Tatis, those are the stolen base guys. You want to talk about somebody that just is a huge letdown besides the entire Braves roster? Ozzie Albies, man, he is just not, he's almost not rosterable. Thankfully, Jackson Holliday's out there, at least trying to, save Nick's season. But, gross. And another guy that has just kind of not been well in that Houston Astros lineup, Christian Walker. Who wants that fucking turd? But Nick's riding that hopeful wave, man. I mean, he's got Isaac Paredes. I would put Isaac up there and figure something out with third base. I mean, he's got Junior Caminero. I mean, come on, dude. I mean, Christian Walker's just bringing you down, my bro. And look at it. 226 batting average and a 278 OBP. Ugh. No, sir. Andrew Judge came back. Ellie De La Cruz is there. I mean, this is a good lineup for Josh. I mean, when Matt Olson starts, if he can turn things around for his own, now hitting in that number 2 spot, which is supposedly coming at risk with Jerks and Profar coming back. But you never know. Brian Snitker just, who the hell knows what he's going to do anymore. But again, from top to bottom, Josh has got a really good lineup. Great catcher, great first baseman. Now a good second baseman in Mookie Betts. Addison Barger and Cam Smith, leaves a little bit to be desired there, if you will, for that third base. But, you plug in the other holes in Ellie De La Cruz, Aaron Judge, and Brandon Lowell, and Jarren Duran, if he ever starts picking it back up. Solid roster. Really good pitching as well. Chase Burns looks to be the real deal. Nick Lodolo. Holler at your boy Will Warren. Same. Grant Holmes, iffy. And just Jacob Mizorowski. Skate. All right. So there you go. Mandalorians was defeated by Rayford Peaches, bringing herself out of 12th place and into 11th. And she put up some offensive numbers, and Mandalorians, again, is not slowing down. Ketel Marte is going to just be a problem. Cal Raleigh was actually, had he not had the week that he had prior against, me, that would have obviously been probably a different story, but she put up 49 ribbies. Augustine Ramirez had himself a week. CJ Abrams, I'm telling y'all that CJ Abrams and James Wood combo on her roster, that's a problem, man. Even though the Washington Nationals are not that good, those two kids, they got bright futures, let me tell you. Alec Burleson, she goes and picks him up, and he says, I love you, Ray. Lars Nootbaar comes back, goes on the DTD, this, that, and then the other, and Ian Happ is starting to find life. And Jazz Chisholm, who she just traded away, put up some good numbers for her, but still, she's got a solid roster. And now with Jonathan Aranda and that Tampa and where they hit in that Little League ballpark, she is going to do some things coming down the stretch. You guys watch. She's got a really good pitching staff. Chris Bubich, Drew Rasmussen, Zach Wheeler, Andrew Abbott, Casey Mize. Probably the more important Casey in her life is that one. She's and Nathan Eovaldi, and now if Shane Baz, Hunter Green looks like he's going to be making his comeback. Scheduled to throw a bullpen session Wednesday. Probably won't be coming back until next week or later. And then she dropped Dean Kramer, and that boy put up some really good numbers against a very hot Tampa Bay team. and he's now out there. So if you need a pitcher, there you go. But Rayford. And that just excites me even more, knowing that number one, she's my wife. Hey. And number two, I get to play her ass this week. So hopefully she blew her load all over Scott. But I'm just the way that I just announced her roster. I doubt it. Moving on to Eric versus Jason. You know, it's always a good week for Eric when number one, he turns another year older, and number two, when he gets a win. That's when he feels like, you know what, life is feeling good. And we've seen all this week about how he has made it very clear to us that his roster is about to turn around. And strap in, boys, because Oneil Cruz, once he basically wins him a couple of categories or stats or whatever, I don't know what he did, but he didn't get him enough home runs. But yeah. Anyways, whenever Jurickson Profar comes back, which will be Wednesday, and Max Muncy does things, Bryce Harper's coming back tonight. You know, he's got a fairly decent roster. Let's say it what it is. Nick Kurtz, not a bad first baseman. Wish he would have put up numbers like what he's been doing for me when I owned his ass. But we move on. Eugenio Suarez is apparently Chipper Jones, best third baseman ever to play baseball. Oneil Cruz is who he is. But yeah, I don't think Jackson Merrill is going to come back around. A lack of production, if you will, for some of the guys that Jason had, and therefore it cost him. He didn't have anything from Giancarlo Stanton. And his best offensive producing person is Seiya Suzuki and Gleyber Torres. And I think Gleyber came from Eric. But Eric was able to get the win. Happy birthday, Eric, 47 now. Just a mixed bag of results for both of these guys. High ERAs, 5 for Jason, almost 5 for Eric. Not what you want to see. A lot of strikeouts, though. Not a lot of quality starts. And just, you know, skirting by, if you will, for both of these gentlemen. But Jason's not too far out of the rankings in the top 6. And I will try my best to remember that I want to go over the top 6 and the bottom 6. So, and last but not least, Brian knocking Jason down 8-3 in this rematch of these two gentlemen. Brian looking stoutly. Look at that, 35, 9, 31. Didn't get the stolen bases, but had a strong average in OBP. Not again ERAs that you really would want to, you know, show to mom, but 3.30, that's respectable. And tied for quality starts and wins went to Jason. Let's look here at some of the players that, you know, Riley Green quietly is having a monster season. I think he's having a better season this year than he did last year when he was on my team. And last year was even a good year. He's ranked 28th right now, but quietly just doing things. He goes and gets Kyle Stowers, I believe, from me in a trade. He had him at one point on his roster. He dropped him. He did some good things. Nico Horner apparently is, needing some praise because he hit home runs this week and hadn't hit any all season. Now he's got 3. So, you know, Alex Bregman coming back. Solid lineup. You know, Freddie Freeman, Bryce Terang, which is kind of just crazy to think about. You know, he does not carry a lot of average, but he carried him last week with a 450. And then on the flip side, you look at Jesus. He's made some trades. He just acquired Ronald Acuna Jr. from yours truly and Jeremy Pena. Look, talk about these trades real quick. Look, I was sought after for Corbin Carroll. I was sought after for Ronald Acuna Jr. The trades were proposed to me. I didn't know Jeremy Pena was going to take a fucking fastball to his rib cage. That sucks donkey dick. That dude was putting up better numbers than Bobby Witt. And honestly, I got fed some, fucking bad luck too when I traded for Cole Reagans and Clay Holmes, and Cole Reagans doesn't even take a fucking, mound visit for me, and he goes on the IL, and the bitch looks like he's about to just not play the rest of the season. So that sucks. But that's baseball, I guess. That's fantasy baseball. Speaking of baseball and fantasy related, while it's on my brain, because it was on my brain while I was coming home listening to some recap of over the weekend. Apparently the Orioles and the Tampa Bay Rays, they played a game. The Orioles put up 22 runs in one game. I am so over this fucking bullshit of where position players go out and pitch and the stat line, if you will, is askewed. This, in my opinion, this has to be addressed for baseball. And let me stand on my soapbox just for a minute before you bitches start complaining to me. Number one, the whole reason for certain things, certain implementations in baseball is the speed of the game. The speed of the game is deterring people away. So you're trying to tell me that with a position player that goes up there and serves up 3 or 4 home runs, base hits, and extends a very long inning, that is somehow entertaining? Because one pitcher can mock or mimic, and if you know what I'm talking about, and you watch the game with, I forget which position player it was that was mocking the players on his team that were pitchers. He was trying to mimic how they pitched. It was a Dodger player. Again, I can't rightfully remember off the top of my head, but it happened this year. Sure, it was comical, but I didn't show up to a baseball game to necessarily laugh at this. Yes, I do enjoy said humor and comedy and stuff, but this isn't the Savannah Bananas. This isn't the type of ball game. And then you also have to look at it from, and again, I don't bet, but when I start to think about from a betting perspective, you guys are fucking costing people money. And again, I get that. It's a gamble. That's why they call it that. But I'm just saying, you guys are fucking up so many things with this bullshit of allowing this to happen. And baseball could easily fix this. You have to put out a person that is actually on the team as a pitcher. I don't care if he's a starter or a relief pitcher, but you can't just throw out a fucking position player and start doing this shit. It extends the game. It costs people money. It's inflating certain historical things, if you will, in terms of home runs, RBIs, and it does nothing to the guy that is the pitcher, that is pitching, that's not a pitcher. Like, what's he going to carry, an ERA? Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, it doesn't, I don't understand it. It's bullshit, and I fucking hate it. It's not how, in my opinion, the game is supposed to be played. I.e., again, I stopped watching the game, but I can pretty much go ahead and try to say to myself that based off of the score, it didn't happen. The fucking Phillies and the Braves played a game, and by the third inning, Ronald Acuna is out of the game. Number one, because Brian Snitker says, yeah, my offense is fucking horrible this season. It is putrid. It sucks. And the only player that is even worth a fucking damn is our little guy we have to wrap in bubble wrap, and that's Ronald Acuna Jr. Get him the fuck out of the game. It's the third fucking inning, and you're in Atlanta. You're in your home, and you've already conceded to a loss. You say, yeah, we're not going to do it. But I guarantee you, or not guarantee you, I can pretty much probably say that he didn't roll out a fucking position batter to pitch. I want to pull that up. Like, I'm going to look at that fucking, like, box score. Because, and the reason I say that he didn't do this is because the score ended up only being 16 to nothing. I mean, they were shut out that fucking game. But let me look here and see the stat line, if you will. Oh, it was 13 to nothing. Sorry. So, again, it would suggest that relief pitchers are the only ones that came in. Elder pitched, Peterson pitched, De Los Santos, Montero, Dylan Lee, and Williams. And I don't, is Luke Williams a relief pitcher? Yeah. No, he's a shortstop. So they did do it. So again, fuck those dudes. And let me see if anybody got any. Yeah, Philly got 2 more runs in the top of the 9th from Luke Williams, a shortstop. Again, this is a fucking problem. I'm pissed, and I think the rest of everybody else in the baseball world needs to be pissed. It just doesn't make sense to me. You're paying pitchers out there. Dude, the fucking Atlanta Braves have a bullpen problem. There's nothing to suggest that fucking Raisel Iglesias going out there in the top of the 9th would have given up 2 runs versus this damn Luke Williams. Like, bro, it's ridiculous, man. Stop doing this fucking shit. Because in terms of fantasy, when it comes to this and how it relates to us, this is a problem. If you are playing a person in a league where there is money on the fucking line, and like the Baltimore Orioles and the situation that went out there, the Baltimore Orioles didn't pull their fucking badass batters. Their badass batters are fucking hitting home runs off of Jose Caballero. So if there's going to be a position batter, guess what? The fucking pitchers get to fucking hit. Make that a fucking rule. If you're going to roll out a position batter onto the mound, guess what? Max Fried, you get to go fucking hit. Bitch, what was the one pitcher that used to pitch for the Royals and he loved to hit? He was a great hitter. God, what was his name? I'm going to have to wrap this up because I went way too long on my soapbox. But, shit. What was his fucking name? Blonde-haired dude. Like, Eric always loved him on his roster. Fuck, what was his name? Damn it. Anyways, we'll figure that out at another time. I said I would remember to do it, and I'm going to do it really quick here. First of all, these matchups are what Week 14 is providing for us. Myself will face off against the high-powered offense of Rayford Peaches. Shane will face off against Eric. This is going to be good. That's the matchup of the week, in my opinion. But another matchup that's even going to be gooder, Josh versus Jesus. Co-matchup of the week right there. Nick versus Jason, Sean versus Walker, and Scott versus Brian. That's another good one, too, to watch. So we got like 3 really good matchups to watch here. And our league looks like this. Here's your top 6 now. Josh sits at first, second place. Right behind him, 1 game behind him, is Nick. 2 games behind Josh is Shane. And 3.5 games back from Josh is Brian. 3 games back from Brian is Jesus. That's why that matchup's going to be good. No, wait. Sorry. Between Josh and Jesus, that would be a good matchup. Myself, I sit a game and a half back from Jesus. So go Team Josh. And then in 7th through 12th, Jason, Scott, Walker, Eric, Ray, and Sean. Those are your top 6 and your bottom 6. And did I run out of time? No, I did not. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. Half a game back from me is Jason. So, of course, he's going to look and try and destroy Nick, or at least keep it close, while Rayford Peaches puts it in me ass. So, that's it. I am curious to know. It's like a Zach or something. Like, it's Zach something. He retired like 2 years ago. I've got like 1 minute. Let me see if I can figure this out myself. Oh, gosh. He was also a Dodgers former pitcher. Loved hitting. Gosh, it's gonna. Dodgers former pitcher. Dang it. I'm going to run out of time. Got 45 seconds. Can I do it? Former Dodgers pitcher. Come on. Not Trevor Bauer, not Lance Lynn. Come on. Gosh, can't think of it. Blonde. Let's go there. Up. No, No, not Thor. Did y'all see Thor's coming back? That's crazy. Get signed with the White Sox. Can't think of it. Noah, no, not Noah Syndergaard. No, it wasn't Noah. Skinny dude. I'm going to figure it out and give it in the chat. It was Zach Greinke. I knew I would remember. See? Yes.
It's the motherfucking play.